Yeah, and you mentioned a $30 million kind of stack, right? Take us back to that first deal where you bought that 8 unit Seattle around 2010. How'd you get the deal done? What were some of those key lessons from that first one?
Yeah, so that was 2010, and my memory was everybody was like, "Real estate might be tanked. Who knows if it's coming back?" Kinda like this doom and gloom thing. I was so young, I didn't have any money that I lost, like, in that whole recession. So, it wasn't like I was coming in with all these battle scars. I just was coming out into the workforce as a, "Hey, I gotta figure out how to make money, and it feels like this is probably gonna come back." And again, with that lens of, like, we're gonna hold this thing for 10 years, 15 years, whatever, like, I wasn't terribly concerned with, like, what's gonna happen in the next 6 to 12 to 18 to even 24, 36 months, like, that's not where my head was. And if you can go back and look at, past recessions and cycles and everything's a cycle, right? So, like, it made sense to me, like, this will come back at some point, like, I didn't know that was, like, a perfect time to be buying stuff, like, that's but it's funny because now I talk to people and they're like, "Man, what great timing," like, "You're so lucky you got in." But I was like, like, back then in the moment, I had a lot of people telling me that it was not a good idea, that I was probably never recovering, that the market was tanked forever, like all of this stuff. And so in the moment, it certainly didn't feel like a no-brainer. I think everybody would have gone in, right? But no, so that first deal, I had just been learning and researching and again, reading books, talking to anybody I could possibly talk to. I had worked my way through college, so I had accumulated some money, put some money together with some other people, and we bought that first one. And it was just a little 8 unit, like 1970s vintage in the city of Seattle, which the landlord laws were a little more friendly at that point. And so we don't buy in the city of Seattle anymore, but that was the first deal. And so we got it for $1,000,000. And now that building would probably we sold it, after 8 years or something, but that building would probably be worth $3.5 million now, like something like that, maybe a touch more. But you know, we I operated it, I self-managed it, I had my day job. I was getting the calls at 2 AM from tenants. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. We were not using any systems, like, it was literally, like, a Google sheet that I was doing my best, right? And, like, my background is not accounting, like, it was none of that. So, it was pretty clunky, but, a year and a half in or 2 years in, the market got a little better, we had increased the rents a little bit, and, an older mentor of mine was like, "Hey, you might be able to refinance that thing." I was like, "What?" Like, that wasn't even like, again, I didn't even have this, like, business plan in my head. I just was like, "I don't even know what you're talking about," but sure enough, went to a bank and I could get all the money, so 250 grand that we used to acquire it, got all that back plus another 300,000 bucks, kept the building, still cash flowed, took that 550, went and bought a 5 unit, about 30 minutes south, went and bought another 8 unit, literally did it again, went and bought a 16 unit. Like, I mean, it was just this for 10 years. And I self-managed literally by myself, for, yeah, like 8 years. And we got to 60, 70 units or something. It was brutal. I was not doing a good job, like, you just hit this place where it's like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing." Decided to 1031. Washington State is kind of broken into 2 sides, right? Like, there's, like, the West Side, which is, like, Seattle and, like, all the major markets that everybody knows of, and then there's Eastern Washington, which is a little more agriculture. There's tourism out there. Like, I love Eastern Washington, but it's a totally different vibe. But I had been kind of getting some weird letters from the city of Seattle about, "Oh, hey, do you want to participate in our rental housing assistance program?" Like those types of things. And it started to feel less like an option and more like, "Hey, this stuff's coming," like whether you like it or not. So we 1031 everything out of Western Washington that we had and bought in Eastern Washington, around 2019-ish, 2020. And so we kind of, doubled our unit count, rolled all the money back in, cash flow probably tripled, and then started operating out there, but with third party property managers. And that was when a light bulb kind of clicked for me. It was like, oh wow, like I could do so much more if we figure out this, you know, third party property management model. And I actually was understanding how to do this more and, like, could underwrite deals better and all of that stuff. And then we just kept scaling and buying in Eastern Washington for the next couple of years. During COVID, we were buying, like I loved it. All of that chaos was good. We were acquiring through it. And then about 2 years ago, put together Veritas Equity Partners to raise investor capital and just do more of the same. But I hadn't syndicated any deals until last year. So yeah,